Hello, welcome to Megan Catherin Enlightenment. And this is a part of my series, My Spiritual Adventures. And this one particularly is focused on a bee spirit message, that came to me today. Now, how this happened was I got up this morning, wandered out into my kitchen, and there was a bee buzzing around, trying really hard on the floor around the island bench, trying to get up the cupboard or something, but it was not looking very healthy. And what was crazy, I was like, how did a bee get into my house? I haven't brought any plants or washing or shopping or anything like that in. But when I sort of gave it a little bit more thought, because I thought, okay, bee, why are you here? Could be more profound, right? Couldn't be more obvious. It's not like I'm in the garden. Oh, you see bees all the time. You could swap that one away. It's in my house. First thing I've seen as I've walked out of my room. So I was like, okay, what needs to happen here? Do I look this up? Do I put in bee animal spirit totem or spirit guide, as I've done before when certain animals have flagged for me, feels like a guide, come up regular, whatever, or been in a really obvious, like, oh, this is unusual. Now, I had been out several times, one to go do some babysitting and back again, and twice to the bin. So that's 6 door openings. I hadn't been out the back. I had had a very quiet sort of day. And I was thinking, this is strange that this bee's here, so I've got to take this as a spirit message. But then I started to get this as I was wandering around thinking, right, I'll go soon. And first I let the bee out. Found a little container and took the bee out and put it in the lavenders, and all was well. But then it was really playing on me. So then, yeah, I just was like, okay, I need to listen to what this bee has to say, this bee spirit of this particular bee. So when I sat down with my breakfast, I thought, right, I'll write about this. I'll see what wants to channel through in automatic writing or listening and writing it down from the bee. So I found my book and flicked through, and the first page I came to had this little space empty. So I was like, okay, I'll start here, put the date in, but I didn't even look. I thought that was the end of, where the writing was, but it wasn't. There was more writing. I was like, oh. So I got to this point where I just wrote that I'd seen it and what had happened. And then it was like, I have to turn 4 more pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this is important. Pay attention to what I'm doing here. And I found another little space, and I was like, okay, oh no, there's more writing. Should I continue to write here? No, yes. So I wrote down. So what I wrote here, I had come to the point of, okay, what does the bee want to pass on to me? What does this bee spirit wish to pass on to me? And I was like, okay, I'm tuning into the bee. I sat very quietly, and this is what I'm asking you to do. To begin with, I used to look it up. Look up, what does bee totem spirit mean? What does spirit message of bee? What is a bee and spirit animal, or any of those words, spirit guide, all the words that would pop into my head around that animal or being. And so this time it was like, no, you're getting trained a little bit stronger here. You've got to stop looking for what is the answer in other bits and pieces and start listening to what wants to come through you. You're ready to up that level, increase it in a different way, and have others speaking to you more. So particularly bee spirit, who hasn't not spoken to me before. I have had bee spirit a couple of times in my journey of the last 12, 13 years. And the message has not ever really been different to what I've got. So you could look up lots of things about bee, and apparently it's hardworking, industrious, working in teams. I had a look after I'd written stuff, but it didn't come through as that. What happened was I felt into that bee. I had put it outside already, but I imagined it back where it was in front of my island bench on the floor, and I imagined it and sat in that space, and I thought, I can feel or sense orange and yellow. Now, if you know anything about my stuff, Color is how light talks to me. And so I was like, okay, there's something about, I can sense it putting through this orange and yellow. Now, orange for me is the spectrum of grace, and yellow is a spectrum of bliss. So I started to tune into the bee, had that in my mind, the concept of grace and the color oranges, whatever orange it felt, but just that sense of grace and that sense of bliss. And then the words started to come to me. So I wrote them down as automatic writing. Be in your elegance and do not rush the day. Yes, you have things to be done and more you wish to achieve. Slow down into your own vibe, your own pace. Concern yourself with true one flower. Oh, what's that? With true one flower. Interesting. Can't read my own writing. Until it feels spent. Got it. Concern yourself with the one flower until it feels spent. So I was seeing this sense of bee moving around to a flower and staying with that flower, interacting with that flower on an energetic level, plus a physical level, obviously, to take up what nourishment wanted to come, what was to be taken from the flower. And so I got this: concern yourself with the one flower until it feels spent. Then see where the energy leads you to next. So I've had the message before from B. I couldn't find where I'd written it, and I thought, it doesn't matter. B's here talking to me now about this ability that bees have to see the light of flowers. And so here I was tuning into the light of the bee. Interesting. And so it was kind of like, follow that energy, follow that message and information, and how it talks through that. Bees are super multidimensional. They see and feel and sense in ways that we are yet to grow into. So I was sort of going, okay, this is what you're teaching me. This is part of the training now. Now, interestingly, I then went back and looked through a few things and found that I had taken out of magazines. When I used to be an interior designer, I went through this phase when I started up with my spirituality to cut out a lot of pictures all the time. Actually, it started before I even got into it. I did it more as collage art. But here I am. There's a bee and illumination. Well, I'm all about the human illumination. I'm all about the mystic way and the mystic body. And you can find out or participate more with that in my Patreon monthly membership. But I am starting to share more of it here too now, because this is what I've been in training for quite a while, to really start to get this concept of working with light, following the energy of light, and actually interacting and talking with the light as an information or a communication that obviously some animals have, and insects and fish and things like that. They see the light and feel the light and sense things differently. Whether they're sentient enough to know this, or whether on a greater spirit sentience they are, I don't know yet. That's part of the exploration. So I'm very excited. A bit new adventure coming on. Now, the other thing was, as I said, only a little bit of the page. So I've got to here, turn 3 more pages to get the rest. 1, 2. And I finally got to where there was a big space, but I didn't feel led to go to that space. How bizarre. Okay, so interestingly, it's like popping from flowers to flowers, space to space, needs and requirements, opening up, whatever the nourishment and the information is and where it wants to land. So I then continued with B, who said, do not rush, do not, I think I might need the glasses on here. Do not rush. Do not waver from what you are doing. Vibration leads you. Spirit leads you. What is not done will be done another day. Nothing is random. We bees travel to the ripest flowers, skipping those that do not align for us to come together yet. Your tasks are the same. Follow your elegance, bee. I was like, thank you, bee. And I'd written what I'd done, that I had let it out, and that I wasn't looking, the bee didn't look too good. And I was appreciating the bee and thanking it for its sacrifice to be in the house with me. How it got there, I don't know, whether it was planted there by spirit or some other dimension, or whether it came in when I opened the door. It really didn't matter. It had a message for me. The funny thing was that I didn't see it last night. I didn't see it around the house yesterday. It was only this morning when it was the ripest time to come together. How interesting. Now, the reason that this is all coming up, and I've just written this for my own benefits, really, but I am leaving to the UK in 4 days for a mediumship retreat. So I am in training on how to use my light and what else to do. And I trust it'll all get done. I have the Mystic Way and the Mystic Body videos I need to make. I have tarot and tea happening in person on one of the nights, and I have things I have to do for that. Plus, I had some projects I'd taken on that I need to get finished because there will be no time for them, and just my packing and whatever. It just feels overwhelming. But I'm learning to let that slow down thing happen. Okay, just sit in the energy and see where it wants to take me. And that's the message that B is giving me. Take the nourishment, stay with that flower till it's spent. Now, I had a little example of that. I actually have been doing some washing because I'm off to the winter cold. So I had to wash some of the jumpers and things that I haven't really started wearing yet, as we're just coming into our winter or autumn here in Perth, Western Australia. So I had the washing to hang, and I started hanging that washing, and at the same time I was really wanting and been craving a cup of coffee. I don't have them often, but I was like, oh, I really want this cup of coffee. So mid having a wet piece of clothing, I walked over to, because I was hanging inside, walked over to the kettle and started trying to make a cup of coffee from the kettle that I'd boiled several times over. And that's when I went, oh my God, stay with the flour till it's spent. So I got, just leave the kettle, walk away, go finish hanging your washing, and then come back and focus yourself completely on the flour of coffee. So I hope this is helpful to you. In fact, I know it will be helpful. If you've come right now to see this, whatever time frame it is perfect. See how this is applying in your life right now. And you may also be at that level of your light work that you are ready to be trained in how to read the light rather than reading energetically or having an intermediary or other versions of whatever else that we have always had set up. There's a whole series I could make on the different levels of how Spirit has spoken to me and how my body has operated to do that. So definitely in a visionary training scenario for me right now, sort of new eyes, new perspective, new how-tos. And although I've always gone with that, follow the judgment of and the perspective of and the time frames of Spirit, stay in that slipstream, I feel like I'm leveling into an even more focused and drawn pathway that is helpful to what it is I'm here to achieve as a mission. So yeah, this is timely for a lot of people, I'm quite sure, to recognize that you are going into a new training and to just be slow with it. Take your time, let the flower be spent. If you do get distracted and buzz off to something else, don't beat yourself up about it, but recognize that you aren't in that slower mode yet. Okay, maybe I need to tune into the bee spirit myself, or my own spirit, my inner self, to find out more about how I can train myself to be in that intimate nature connection. All right. I feel done. I'm going to let you guys go. See you and enjoy being the bee and just being. That's the message the bee used to give to me. Just be. Okay, bye guys.